labor relations needs are very important to me and important to the board. Where you get frustrated is when they're balancing priorities, and when we're all balancing priorities. I understand those frustrations, and I'm going to take questions in a minute about some of your frustrations in that regard. And as Nick told you, be very direct with you, and some of what I say will fit with what you might feel comfortable with. Some of what I say you will not agree with, and some of what I say will just make you plain mad. But that's okay. I say to Mario and I fight a lot about issues in the office, but in preparation for getting to the Board of Supervisors with agenda items. But as I say to Mario and I say to you, where you have two people that think exactly alike, one of them is unnecessary. And I'm trying desperately not to be unnecessary over in the Hall of Administration. We have the issue of the pensions, the public safety retroactive piece of the pensions. Came in a little after Mario started, so I don't know the extent to which that was addressed. Doesn't affect this organization so directly, but you should keep your eye on that. It's important. I mentioned jail staffing as a labor relations issue. Along the line of jail staffing, one of the things your executive director and some of you individually have helped me better understand is the issue of the nursing staffing and the problems that staff faces in the jail. And of course, we had an incident about 10 days ago where a nurse was hurt in an incident in the jail, and I'm very concerned about that and the issues of the nursing staff in the jail. So I don't know how you do that job. I do not know how you do that job. We have the issue of competitive salaries, and get tired of hearing from you about that matter. We have the issue of 2009 negotiations. About a year from now, perhaps a little less, we'll start the next round of negotiations, contract negotiations. We have individual groups of employees. Are there some engineers in the room? Any engineers? Raise your hands. One engineer. Well, you're representing 400 people. Welcome. Are concerned over there, as is the management staff in the RD, in the Public Works Department, about the issue of competitive salaries for engineers. It's something we're taking too long to address, but we're trying. And again, your individual employees who represent that particular group of folks and your executive director is on our case about that matter, and we're going to try to get to it. There are many, many other groups. Nurses we talked about before. One of the things I am proud of, in our agreement of about 2 years ago, we did put about $8 million aside to try to address some of those issues. Didn't cover it all, but we made progress. And of course, you have the issue that came up recently. I'm very proud of you, very proud of each one of you. The Board of Supervisors approved a 2.7 pension program for you, most of you, not all of you, in 2004-ish. And the deal was that the employees would pay for that. And it was implemented, and the source and method of payment was and is payroll deductions, not only you, management, myself, everybody, and healthcare savings. And there's always been this little kibitzing. Nick's been under some pressure. Well, you're not really paying for it, and it's kind of, and CEO's not keeping track of it, but we were. And so the board asked for a study by the internal auditor, Peter Hughes, as to whether the employees were really fulfilling their commitment of the 2.7 pension program. And finally, I'd seen the draft report a couple of weeks ago. The final report came out in the last few days in the paper this morning. The employees, you, are fully meeting your contractual obligations to pay for that pension program. Very proud of you in that regard. And of course, it's difficult. It's payroll deductions, which are hurting you in the competitive marketplace. I understand that. But at the same time, it's also protecting challenges to that 2.7 pension program because you're paying for it. So congratulations on that. The bottom line, I could whine to you up here about tough times and tough budget times and labor relations constraints because of budget issues. But you and I know, ladies and gentlemen, it's a matter of priorities. It's a matter of priorities. How are we going to allocate scarce resources, and where in that particular prioritization are our employees going to fall? competitive salary's gonna fall, 2009 contract negotiation's gonna fall, and there'll be at differing levels, because again, you're competing with DNA labs and jail staffing and social service demands in a, I don't know, marginal beginning of a mild recession. I don't know, somebody can challenge me on that if you want. But the bottom line is that the Board of Supervisors, the CEO's office, John Morlock, Mayor Marinell, how did you pronounce that name? I like that. That was good. Moriarty. That's it. Do have as a high priority the interests of each one of you and your organization and the other employee organizations. It's just difficult sometimes, and you have to accept that, and I have to accept that, and we need to fight when we need to fight, and fight fairly, and we need to agree when we can agree, and we need to keep this county moving forward, both program-wise and labor relations-wise, in the best interest of all of its employees, and I'm dedicated to doing that. You won't always be pleased, but you will often or occasionally be pleased. So let's get through it together, and let's go forward. Orange County is a very, very special place. I was interested in the number of people that stood up that live in Orange County, and that's an extra bonus, and also gives you an extra vested interest in making sure the outcomes I've talked about are indeed in your interest and the interest of the county.